Yo, what's happening, yo? Welcome back to another episode. Today, I got a unique episode for today. And today I'm gonna be talking about how I overcame crash dieting, going from fit to fat to fit. First things first, I want to shout out to Soyo for giving me this idea because he suggested me to do a challenge. But honestly, when I read this comment, I kind of reflected, is like I already done this challenge. I already done it so many times. And I think for a lot of y'all, you already kind of see the here and now. You already see what I look like, you already see what I do and things that, and like in your minds, in your heads, you probably think like, oh, it's easy for him because he's been an athlete, he's done this, he's always in the gym, he knows what he's doing, he's dialing, X, Y, and Z, right? But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to give you a 7 year story. I'm here to give you 7 years of me doing crash dieting from, year 2018 all the way up to 2024, right? 6 to 7 years of doing this. So without further ado, and yes, you might not think like this is like I was fat and things like that, but you can put it any perspective you want. You can put it in a perspective like I was out of shape, or maybe I gained some weight and things like right. But I gained 40 pounds, right? Like when I first got into college, I was at 225, 220, 220, 225, right? So when I got into it and then finishing out, I gained 40 pounds and things like that. And I'm about to show you right now what it is and things like that. So here, right here in this side, left side of this picture, right? This is me when I started college, right? 2016, I'm sitting around 220, maybe 225, right? I don't know exactly, but that's within the range, okay? So you can see I got a somewhat decent build, right? Like I got like, we're there, we're there. We're just mostly tall and lengthy and things like that, right? And then so fast forward, right? And then we're moving to like year 2018. Cool. I was still, somewhat in shape and things that, yeah, you can see the abs and stuff like that. At the time during the summer when I go back home from college, I was, doing some running with my boys, from old school track and things like that. And so I was trying to keep up with it because I was, again, at college, I was doing football and things like that. So I was trying to do that. But at the same time, I think you guys know my story. Like if you're new to tuning in, things like that, I used to play football and things like that, but when like my coach told me that he wants me to put on weight, I got no guide, no plan of action what I need to do. So I just did you know, what any other people would think about doing is just like eat whenever, whatever you want. And that's it, really. Like you just do dirty bulking. You just eat whatever you got in sight, and that's it. And things that, well, comes to find out, this is what it turns out. This is me, my sophomore year of college right here going to football, right? That's probably where I'm like at like 240, 245 right here. And you can see, the stomach is sticking out from jersey and stuff like that. Like the face is puffy and things like that. And I was just like, man, and like at the time, like, when you're an athlete, you don't really think about these things really sometimes. And so like when you're going through, it's like you just like you you push away this position of like all like what you're feeling and like how you're looking is like it doesn't matter because you're doing this for a sport, right? Not really knowing like how it's been like negatively affecting your body and things like that. That's what's been happening with me, right? So it's like cool. I finished football and things that I take a trip, I go on a cruise trip with my boys back in 2018. We go to the Bahamas and it's like I still kept the weight, right? I still kind of did the same thing I was doing like leading up to the trip and things like enjoying the beach time and things that. As you can see, like I got love handles sticking out to the side and things like that. I got like a stomach, a belly and things like that. I was still, of course, like at the time I was having a good time, but when I look back at these photos, I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like I really kind of let myself go, but at the same time, I just had no guy, like no plan or actions for me to do what I need to do to keep myself somewhat in shape, still get strong, and still play the position I need to play. Because at the time, I was playing defensive lineman, and of course, if you don't know, like defensive lineman needs to have some weight to and strength to, withstand against the offensive lineman, right? For y'all that don't know football, but anyways, like yeah, it's like what, like sometimes like here in this picture, sometimes I feel self-conscious about taking my shirt off because again, it was just the way I look and things like that, right? Again, I had love handles, my belly was sticking out, and sometimes my face would be puffy and things like that. So like I'll be self-conscious of taking my shirt, even though sometimes too, again, I'll get external compliments, man, like you're looking big, you're looking strong, you're looking jacked. It's like, yeah, those external compliments were great. But again, inside, I was just always feeling like shit, even this year, right? So you fast forward to 2019, right? I still kept this weight. I even got bigger too, right? So because at the same time, I just had to keep adding size, right, for the position I was playing. But at the same time, like going 2019, right, finish the season, things that here, this is April 2019, right? We just what we like to call April rain is like once a year, our college celebrates like a whole weekend, just like drinking from morning to night, things that. Again, I wasn't much of a drinker, but I maybe got one day out of the weekend, have fun, chill with the boys and stuff like that, party a little bit and things like that. But I mean, like you can see, like we're like, like I have some like nice clothes on, things like that. But you can see like my stomach is sticking out further than my chest and stuff like that, right? So it's just like when I look back at these photos, it's just crazy to me how I think like, man, this is crazy how like it just didn't look good, right? At the time, I just didn't think about it because again, like for me, the way I look at it is like the way my body stores fat is more visceral fat, okay? And what it means is like this is what you see right here. When you see this picture right next to my mom, right? We go to the beach and things that this is summer when we finish this up the year, junior year. Is you can see how my stomach is like so far extended to the point where it's just covering my mom, right? It's almost covering the entire picture of my mom, right? So it's just like it's crazy to think like how much of like a false belief shift I had at the time because again like I still had ads but it was portraying me in the disillusion of like I wasn't healthy, right? Like yes, even though I still have ads, that's what visceral fat does to me is because like yes, I had ads but my stomach was so far extended like looked like I was pregnant, right? So it caused me, and in this picture right here it caused me to be self-conscious, right? At the time I was like, man, I don't know if I want to take my shirt off or not and things that I was like, I want to do it because I just want to get tan, right? Because of course my mom was like Jack and tan. So I just did it, but again, at the same time, look back at the picture. I'm like, man, like, are you serious? Like, I really let myself this go. Like, my stomach is that far extended, and so I can tell you what I was doing for college too. I can tell you exactly what I was doing to get to this point, right? Of course, when you're a college kid, you're broke. You only rely on school food. You just rely again when you have no plan, you just eat whatever and anything in sight. So during this time of college, I was just doing, I was doubling my meals, right? For breakfast, I'll do double sausage, egg, McMuffins, or sausage. I just call them McMuffins, but like at the school cafeteria, I'll do double sausage, egg, muffins, a bowl of oatmeal, maybe two peanut butter and honey sandwiches, and that was it. That was my breakfast, right? Maybe chocolate milk. Lunch, I'll double my meal on that, whatever the school lunch was having that day. Dinner, same thing. I'll double my meal. And then sometimes we have snacks, like, or I'll get snacks from like, the stores and stuff like, and things like that. So, I have Pop Tarts, Cliff Bars, any snacks you can really think of just having in your college dorm, right? And that's what I was doing. And sometimes too, like our school was connected to a pizza shop, Domino's, and this is why I love Domino's at this point now. It's like I'll get my pizza maybe like once or twice a week and things like that. On top, there'd be times again like I'll do some drinking and stuff like that. Like I'll go like 2 o'clock in the morning, party with the guys and stuff like that out to a victory, and then I'll get pizza after that, right? So it's just like I've done these things. I've been in the position you guys been in too before and things that I understand like these feelings. I understand like, like, yeah, at the time, like you just had fun, right? You're young, you think like you can get away with this and what you can, things like that. But when you look back at these pictures, like, damn, like you really like for me, especially like when I look back, I'm like, damn, like this is crazy how like as much as I love fitness, as much as like big in health, like how much I let myself go. So moving forward, this is like the summer of 2019, right? I just kind of, decided I don't know exactly what I did because was doing differently, but I think what I was doing since the summer, I like was doing internship. I was actually working. So this is the point where I kind of made a shift a little bit where I was doing more home cooked meals. I was actually somewhat, I wasn't really tracking, but I was having home cooked meals, right? I was cooking my own food. I was cooking my own beef, ground turkey, rice, vegetables, all those good jazz, right? So I was actually eating more whole foods as opposed to, back where I was doing college. I was just eating double of everything. And also, too, I was just eating processed and junk food, right? So we're moving forward to 2020. I kept this weight off for, going through the football season, things like that. This is probably January 2020 right here. And, that's when the pandemic happened. And of course, once the pandemic happened, it's just like little things got a little, picky and things like that, right? A little like disrupted and things like that. So moving forward with that, going to summers, like you can see, I gained that weight back, right? I don't know exactly the weight here, but I gained this shit back. Like, I look at this. Like, a lot of my boys make fun of this T-shirt, by the way, because they call it Baby Gap and things like that, and I don't blame them for that. But at the same time, like you can see, like my stomach, like look how far my stomach is like sticking out from the shirt and things like that, right? And this is why they call it Baby Gap right here, right? But anyways, you can see how far my stomach is sticking out from the shirt, and like you see how far the love handles are sticking, right? And that was the year 2020. And so like so far you see like the 2 years I've gone up and down ways, I gone to like the highest point, I lose it, right? I gone to the highest point, I lose it. And that's in 2 years, right? Moving forward is like then I got myself ready. This is where I moved down to Houston, Texas, end of October 2020. I started working, I did more manual labor stuff. So I was actually increased my activity while I was still working out, things that, and of course I was in a warmer environment. So my body was always burning calories. And at the same time too, I was actually eating more. I was going back to originally what I was doing back in the summer of 2019 was, I had more, this time I was actually kind of tracking my calories into a standpoint. This is where I actually started tracking my calories was the year 2021. As you can see, back to 2018, whoops, I wasn't doing anything. So it took me about 3 years. I went to a level four. It took me about 3 years to actually start, getting my shit together, stuff like that, right? This is where I was like, all right, and like at this point, I was like, all right, what do I need to do differently? What do I need to do to stop, putting myself in this position right here to a sense, right? And that's what I did. I just kind of started tracking my calories. I started eating more whole foods. Yes, I'll still have fun foods and things like that, but I wasn't going crazy. I would probably do it once a week, and that was it, and things like that. And this is why I was increasing my activity, still working out, doing manual labor. And here in the summer, I kind of switched jobs to do door to door marketing and things like that. So I was still kind of increased my activity. I was like doing like 5, 6 miles a day and things like that. Still working out, things like that. Still keeping my diet on point. And this is why I was looking up to this point, right, of the year 2021. So, it changes as the year goes on. And this is what's unique about your journey. Your journey doesn't define your past, and your journey doesn't define like what you're doing right now. It just depends on like what your situation is, what what you're doing, what mistakes are you making right now, and what mistakes can you do better and things like that. And like I said, it took me 3 years to actually start tracking my calories and things like that. Like yes, before I had a good sense of like I know what foods I need to do and things like that. I still wasn't actually hitting the numbers I need to do, especially for my body and based on like my lifestyle and like what I was doing. Okay, so we move forward to 2022. So it's about another year. I live in Houston, Texas, and this is where I actually started taking, a little bit more seriously. And this is why I decided to go in bodybuilding because again, I was an athlete. I still want to keep the competitive nature going. I decided to go in the bodybuilding realm. Okay. So in these 2 years, I've done bodybuilding, year 2022 and 2023. And guys, it's the same concept. Same concept of me doing crash diet, right? Like you saw me from the last thing, right? I was here. I was probably like 235 right here. I'll have to guess right here. And when I was getting bulking up for the bodybuilding because I knew I wanted to do a show, I got up to 255, 260 again, right? I went back to my old ways of college weight. I went back up to 255, 260 because in my mind, that's the only thing I knew, right? I think that this is where it got me in this trap mode. I was chasing the wrong thing. I was chasing the number on the scale versus chasing what I need to do and things that excuse me. So when we chasing a number on a scale, this is what it leads to. It leads to so many things: false beliefs, disillusions, thinking this is what you need to do and things like that, and just puts you in such a mental disability of like all these delusions that you think like you need. This is what you need to do, but in reality, it's not. And then again, I put myself in the same position, and at the same time, when you chase a number, you still keep the same negative habits, right? These are the same negative habits I was doing when I was back in college, maybe a little bit different and things like that. I was still having Whole Foods, but at the same time, I still had 2, 3, maybe like, sometimes go from 1 to 3 times a week of cheat meals and things like that, right? So I was just like, and at the same time, I was like, probably like had like maybe close to 4,000 calories. But again, I was just chasing a number on the scale. I wasn't really focusing on how my body is feeling, how my body is looking, right? Again, my disillusion of how my body portrays is, again, I still have ass, but my stomach is extended, right? I just still didn't understand the concept in a sense. I didn't really pay attention, but that's a negative disillusion that was portraying on my body and things like that, right? And so it took me, and at this point, again, I was at 260, and when I got ready for my first show right here, this was me at my leanest right here at 217. I never seen 217 or under 220 since like going into freshman year college, right? So at this point, it was like 6 years since I've seen 220. I never thought it was possible for me, especially my height and my build, to go underneath 220. But I didn't think that. I dropped 40 pounds in like less than 6 months. Was it doable? 100%. Was it fun? Hell no. That shit was not fun, all right? I tell you, there was a lot of like mental things, a lot, especially within the last 10 weeks of going prepping for that show. I had to cut out cheat meals. So you can understand like cutting out cheat meals for 10 weeks. Like that put my body in a whole dystrophy because like at the same time, like my body was just so used to my negative habits of the college days, like it just didn't know what to do. It was craving it, and like to stop those cravings, I had to really tap in my mind to really understand. Like, look, you're only sacrificing for a short time. It's 10 weeks. You got this. Then after this, we can like we can add it back in and things like that. But when we like been so used to that, processed foods, junk foods, and all those things like that, that's when it just becomes a little bit more mental, battle is because like I was just again so used to processed foods and junk foods that my body was craving those things. I just wanted something different. It wasn't used to 10 weeks and consecutively eating whole foods all the time, right? So that was a major mental battle going the first year of bodybuilding. Then we move in 2023. After that, I was like, I still did the same thing, right? After I was done with the show, I thought like I could jump right back to what I was doing before, right? Jump back up to 4,000 calories, jump back up to having 1 or 3 times a week of cheat meals and things like that. And I put myself back in the same position, right? This is what I like to call crash dieting. I got to 260, I got down 217, got myself back up 260, and back over here. This is when I got back down to 223, right? But at the same time, it's like, what's the point here? It's like at the end of the day, it's like for me, it's like, what's the point? What's the point of me going all the way up, crashing down, all the way up, crashing down? It's like it's guys, it's not fun. Trust me, I've been there and I've done it. I'm showing you guys right now, like I've done this for like 5 to 6 years, 7 years of doing this shit, and it's just not fun. Because here again, I lost 30 pounds in like 4 months. Again, is it doable? 100%. Is it fun? Hell no, because all the extra cardio I had to do, the cuts of foods, the carbs, how my body was responding, how my body was feeling. It was a mental fatigue and game. It was a mental battle the entire way through. So at the same time, it was just not fun. Like, did I look good? 100%, right? Like at the same time, on this side, did I get a lot of external compliments about me looking jacked, me looking big? 100%. But at the same time, internally, still feeling like shit. Even here, like I still got a lot of comments, man. Like you looking shredded, you looking lean, looking good. It's like, yeah, I appreciate that. But still internally, I was still feeling like shit. Cause again, I was putting my body in such a stressed state that I was just like defeating myself. I was defeating myself mentally. I was defeating myself physically. I was even defeating myself emotionally too. Cause it's like at the same time, like, fuck, like, am I gonna keep going through this? Or is this what it's gonna be like and things like that? And it's just at the point is like, once enough is enough. And this is where the year 2024 came in. Same thing, right? I got myself back at 255. And it's just crazy at this point because this is when I went to celebrate or just go on vacation with my boys and things like that. And before going up to it too, my body kind of gone through different phases. Like my body crashed. Like I had to take a whole week off of working out. Had to kind of reassess my diet. My body just kind of shut down and things that. And I can make a whole different video about that. But anyways, moving forward with that, it's like my body was just completely like underneath a whole lot of stress. I didn't know why and things that, right? But here again, this was July of 2024. I was sitting around like 250, 255 right here. So again, I put myself back in the same negative habits I was doing in college. I put myself back up to 250, 255 because I thought, again, chasing number and scale was the results I was getting. But again, not the way I was feeling, not the way I was looking, not the way I had confidence in myself. Again, at the same time, sometimes I'd be self-conscious about taking my shirt off, going to beaches and things like that, right? And so that's at this point when I got back from the trip and things like that. And I kind of reassessed myself. I was like, enough is enough. Like, I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of crash dieting. I'm tired of just going up and down, up and down. I'm tired of feeling like shit. I'm tired of feeling not having like the confidence. I'm tired of just not liking the way the clothes feel in myself, right? Like my stomach being further out than my chest. I'm looking like I'm pregnant, all those things like that, right? And that's again, this is a disillusion, like the way my body carries the fat, visceral fat, and the way my body like portrays of having abs, but it's not really healthy abs, right? So moving forward, this was right before my birthday in November. This I did like an 8 week cut. I started my cut in September, did 8 weeks of cutting, and I got myself down to the lowest I've been before, to the lowest this year of 234. So I was saying on 234 comfortably right here. I got down for myself 8 weeks and I was able to fit back in my suit, right? I was able to fit back in my suit, still keep the muscle mass, but just look even better, right? I felt more confident with my suit. I looked better and things that compared to like when I put the suit back on in 21, right? It's like you can see much difference. Like, like I had this type of build and things that, and this suit was 2021, but fast forward to 3 years, whoops, fast forward to 3 years, I had like, I put more muscle mass on. I was still lean. I was still probably rocking the same way I was back 3 years ago, and it still fit me and things that, right? But I just did it better. I just fit it better, right? And my confidence grew and things that. So this is where I was like, enough is enough. Now moving forward to 2025, right? This is me a few weeks ago. This is a picture was taken a few weeks ago, right before I did 20,000 calories in a single day, right? This is still me saying 234 and things that. And if you've been following me for a long time or just tuning into my channel, for me, I love to do food challenges. I'm always been a fat kid at heart. I love eating good foods and stuff like that. And I love, trying to see what my capacity is. I don't do this for anything. I just do this for my own entertainment. I do this for my own fun, see how much I can push myself. And that's in things that. But the difference was, going from back then, like 2018 up to now, 2025, is like, what was the switch? What was the change for me? And it was kind of funny because I was talking to my boy a few days ago and I was having conversations like, what was I doing back in my college days and even up to the point of 2024? What was I doing wrong? I had to reassess all the mistakes that I'm doing. Then I had to ask myself this question. I got all my mistakes. How can I do that better, right? How can I make my mistakes better? And I just took one mistake after another to make it better, right? I wasn't in my protein. Cool. I was starting in my protein. I wasn't getting enough veggies and fruits in, right? I started adding more fruits and vegetables into my diet. I wasn't drinking enough water for my body weight, right? I started drinking more water, okay? And I started, checking off one box after another. I started improving my mistakes, right? I was like, how can I do this better? And at the same time, my question was like, how can I still keep my fat kid at heart, but still look the way I want to do? Still feel confident, still feel great in my clothes, right? Walk in any social setting, that I know I'm like the boss in the room and things like that, right? It might sound self-conceited to you guys, but this is the vision I have, and this is how I want to portray my life, until I'm 6 feet under and things like that, right? And this is like the goal, and this is the purpose for me only, and things like you guys might have different goals, you guys might have different purposes, but again, that's for me only and things like that. And this is why I love this shit and things like that, right? But again, for me, it's like how can I still keep the fat kid at heart and still portray into his new version of myself, right? And you can see like you can see all these challenges are crazy, right? A 30-inch pizza right here, a 7-inch cheesecake, 10 cheeseburgers, 3 fries, 2 milkshakes, this mega stack of burgers, a dinner box from Pizza Hut, almost 7,000 calories of Chick-fil-A, like 10 sandwiches, 2 hash browns from McDonald's. Try to do 2 dozen muffins, 6 foot longs, and foot long cookie from Subway, and many more, right? If you guys want to tune in to like how I do, like, me doing these food challenges, I have a whole playlist for it. You can go ahead, tap in after you're done watching this video. But I'm like, all right, how can I do everything I was doing before? How can I keep the same mantra, the fat kid at heart? How can I keep my physique and do it better? And that's what I've been learning. And this, like, from here and in November, I've been doing this for 6 months. I've been doing these food challenges for 6 months. And again, like I said, this picture was taken a few weeks ago, and I'm still looking lean, right? I'm still looking fit. I'm still feeling, rocking my clothes and stuff like that, right? Like I'm doing everything I need to do now. I'm feeling more confident. I love the way my clothes fit. I'm just loving the lifestyle I'm having, right? I have no guilt, no shame about anything, right? I'm not worrying about the next day. It's like, man, should I really done this challenge, right? Or like I'm not worrying about how much the number on the scale is going up. I just know I have a dial-in game plan of my nutrition, my workouts, what I need to do, how I need to assess, and moving forward from there and things like that. So at the end, it's just like when people like again, especially like looking at me for this and stuff like that, it's like, man, like you're just used to this. But guys, like I said, it took me all the way back to 2018. 20 and like 2018, it's been 7 years of my journey. I've been going up and down, been crash dying, right? I was lean. Then I got, then I was out of shape, out of shape. Then I got lean in 2019, right? Then I stayed lean, but then I got out of shape again in 2020. Then I got lean in 2021, but then I got out of shape in 2022, right? Got lean again, got out of shape, got lean, got out of shape. Then I got lean. Now this time I'm staying lean, things that, right? So guys, when I tell you this, like I know how you feel. I know the struggles you've gone through because I've been there. The crash dieting sucks. It's not fun. It's miserable. You're always feeling tired. You're always feeling sluggish. You just have no energy. You just don't feel like doing anything. You just got mental fogness. Like you just can't think straight. I've been there and I understand that. And at the end of the day, the question you gotta ask yourself is like, what's enough to you? When's enough is enough for you, right? When is this gonna be the last time you're gonna start going something hard? You're gonna start doing a crash diet. You're gonna do 75 hard. You're gonna go do keto, X, Y, and Z, all these diets you got out there, right? When's it gonna be the moment in time when you can find something that fits in your lifestyle, something you can enjoy, something you can like do this every single week without the guilt, without the shame, without the stress, right? You just have a freedom of life, freedom you doing these things. Why are you still looking the way you do? Why are you still fitting clothes the way you're doing things like right? And that's the question you gotta ask yourself. What does that life look like for you? And this is my life right now. Now, again, I've said before, it might change, like I might not be doing food challenges the rest of my life. When that time comes, I'll have to, you know, make it audible and I'll go from there and things like that. But for right now, in the meantime, I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna keep living from life free. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I got no complaints about it, right? So that's how I love to live my life and things like that, right? But it's just, like I said, it's been a 7 year journey. So in the journey, again, it's not your destination. Your journey is going to keep going until you can't touch the ground again, right? Until you're 6 feet under. Your journey is always going to is always going to be different, and it's not going to define you. Your past is not going to define you of what you've done. It's just the mistakes you've been doing with the same mistakes over and over again, right? Like I've been doing that mistakes for 7 years. I just asked myself, how can I make those mistakes better, right? And that's what I started doing. And that's what you just got to reassess and really figure out what you really want in life, what you really want to attain, and what you really want your 10, 20, 30-year-old self to look like and things like that, right? And again, for me, it might change when I have kids, when I have a family, all those things. But again, until that time comes, I won't really, worry about that until that time comes. But just something to think about long term and things like that, right? So when you look at me, or like when you think about yourself and your journey and stuff like that, like understands like your journey takes time. Your journey is, filled with ups and downs. Your journey is always, highs and lows. Your journey is always going to be your journey, right? But it doesn't define you. It doesn't define what you've been in the past, right? What you just can do right now is like, how can you be better? How can you like do better and things like, how can you look better? How can you enjoy life better, right? You just gotta ask yourself, how can you do better? And once you start tapping in that, you're gonna start living more freely. You're gonna start enjoying life more, and you're gonna start looking the way you do and things that. All right. So if you guys got like any questions, or you guys want to learn more on how you can enjoy your life stress free, have the freedom to eat what you want, have fun, indulgence, and still look the way you do. Follow me on IG at Coach Eric Metz. Be more happy to chat about it. But guys, like I said, your journey does not define your past. And your journey doesn't define on what you're currently doing right now. It's just a matter of time of when's enough is enough for you. And when's the time of when that change is going to come. You can keep doing this for another 5, 10 years. That's okay. But again, that's your call and that's your choice. But don't keep complaining. Don't just keep looking at other people and like, oh man, like this person got it all figured out. No, no, no. Like, guys, I did not have this shit figured out. Like, I'm still learning as I go on right now and things that are right. But at the same time, I'm not letting the journey define my past, right? I'm making a difference. I'm trying to do better and things that at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure out how I can keep doing this 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road and things that. So don't don't defeat yourself just because you're not where you're at right now. You got plenty of time and things that again, your journey is a long lasting journey and things that there's always going to be different roadblocks, adversities. It just depends on how you overcome it. But at the end of the day, if you're able to overcome it, you're the person that can stand and tell yourself this story to other people, to your kids, to your friends, right? To strangers. You can tell your story. I mean, there's two ways you can go and tell about a story. You can tell about a story how I just said earlier, or you can just keep, talking about your sad story about like, yeah, I used to do this, or like, yeah, I used to be like you and things. It's like that's the most like fucking pitiful excuse I ever heard. Is like, yeah, just wait till you get my age and shit like that. Like, I can't fucking stand when people say about that shit. It's like, then what happened? Like shit happens, life happens. Again, it's like, but like, what lost the most? Like, what lost the drive? What lost the ambition for you to keep doing what you want to do and things like that, right? So at the end, guys, just figure out like how you can do better and things like that. And like, if you're sick and tired of just, live in sadness, feeling tired, feeling frustrated, and things like that. Again, follow me on IG at Coach Eric Metz. Be more happy to chat with you about anything. Shoot me some questions, or if you want to learn more with like how I get myself and my other clients ready for like this, I'm more happy to talk about it. Other than that, guys, that's my 7 year journey so far. Crash dieting, how I got from fat to fit to fat again, things like that, and I'm able to change that. The whole mantra, fat, get heart, living my best life. enjoying these challenges and still looking the way of doing things that. All right. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for listening. As always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next episode.